and that's I.
That's pro. Hey, are we at your so I'll say anything
Oh,
said that we want, which is obviously as evidenced by the fact, and and
oh
I
no.
think you're home. Are you? And
Yeah.
then you were talking, and then you how we've talked a couple, and that we were.
Mhm. With the basketball guy, he's really good. I could see and similar. It's like there's really
MK.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
really nothing to gain from that. That's kind of the same way I see boxing and doing those cards. It's like you're really putting a lot on the line, unless you're fighting someone who's like so much better than you. Like where if you lose, like the one guy with Jake,
Jake and Anthony Joshua.
yeah, where people are like, okay, like this is some ballsy stuff,
Correct. But if
you
you,
know?
it's a, you call it an aura gamble, right? It's like,
Right.
sorry to be 41 and say that, but it is what they call it.
No. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
biggest example of it was certainly Tate versus Mark. What's his name again? The guy that he fought. What's his fucking
I
name?
don't know. I forgot. He's gonna
What
kill
was the
it.
guy that beat up Tate?
Jason Moore.
Chase Demore.
Jason Moore.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an aura gamble to normies because they don't really understand the sport. When I consider it impressive, regardless of what happens, to go through a training camp like that, because I've boxed for even 1.5 hours and, I have to go to sleep right after. So the fact that you do, your 8-week training camp, you go in the ring for however many rounds and however you perform, still something to be proud of, win or loss. But
It's in boxing is insanely high input. It takes a lot out of you, high output.
yeah,
All right, back to the topic of how you got here. I'll speak for myself, and I think you say some stuff as well. I have been very intrigued by your content over the past few months, past I guess even longer. Probably how long has it been now since you've been kind of
since about November,
November? Okay, so like
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
There's been a tremendous number of people who have come up under this new wave of alpha. These aren't definitions for you, but this alpha or prior to that was red pill and kind of like started with this Tate, all the people that have come up. I never wanted to have any of them on the show. I'm going to be honest with you. Like they weren't
Yeah.
super intriguing people. For some reason, the content that you put out is very, to me, at least seems like it's very authentically you. You're a young guy. You're trying to figure out life. You have some very um, interesting ways of going about it, to say the least.
Mhm.
And that's interesting to me. And I think you get certain leniencies because of your age.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean,
Do you
maybe.
feel like that though?
Um.
Because people are really hard on you.
Yeah. I just don't know. I don't think a lot of people even really know my age up until quite recently. So at the start of my career, that definitely wasn't the case because I would say that I look a little bit older. But yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of that red pill like stuff is garbage, and the alpha male thing. It's something I usually will kind of meme on because those guys have to play a 24/7 persona, which, when you're doing these long IRL streams like I do, it just eventually the mask would slip. So I was never uh someone who was like, all right, I'm gonna fake being like this alpha personality and do all this shit. That way I can just be real and like have some vulnerable moments on the stream, where I fuck up and it's okay because you're not trying to impress anyone. So that's part of the reason I think the content just hits and resonates a lot more.
We didn't do an intro for Clev.
That's a good point. We did not.
No,
Do
sorry.
we
We have
have it?
yeah, we have an intro for you here.
Oh,
I'm gonna
amazing.
I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna bring the energy on this.
Sure.
Today's guest is the king of looks maxing. It's talked about man on the internet. That's a fact. You've been online, you've seen the clips. We're talking mogging, aura farming, turning internet culture into full blown movement. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe I'm saying it. It's clavicular.
Thank you guys.
How old are you, Clev?
20.
Dude, that is fucking insane. You are
Mhm.
so young, and you definitely get a pass for some of the crazy shit we've seen you doing because of your age. Um, obviously won't get a pass forever. But like Mike said, and like you kind of just said, which I thought was actually really mature, you are living your life online. You're streaming it, you're sharing it, you're having those vulnerable moments. You've had some crazy moments.
Yeah.
Even like, bro, I'm reading
I
this.
know.
I'm
It's
reading
hard to know where to start.
the
It's a lot of
headlines on
headlines.
this PDF are insane,
Yeah.
bro. It's like ran over someone in ran over stalker in Tesla. Drake this clap
Allegedly.
for having a micro.
Allegedly.
A part owner of a club in Miami. Overdosage.
Well, where do you start is the question.
Yeah.
And also this is kind of an indicative question and helps a little bit. When you sit down on an interview, this is something that was interesting to me too. Like we'll have people come on sometimes we'll be like, "Hey, steer clear of this topic. Steer clear." Nobody said shit to me. Like you've got fresh lawsuits this fucking week, like as of
Yeah.
24 hours ago. Is there anything that's off limits to you to talk about?
Uh, Not really, because it's just impossible to avoid. Like when you're going around and doing these IRL streams, people come up and they'll say things, or TTS will come through. It's just not something that could really be moderated. Like it's not like YouTube. Oh, cut that out. I fucked up. So I'm very used to like the live, open format style where anything goes, because it's sure like with all those headlines you ran, like literally anything goes on the streams. I don't even know what's going to happen most days when I step out into the world with the camera. So no reason to try to avoid or steer clear of anything.
Why did you choose streaming versus like vlogging or short form content?
Um, I would just say because I hopped on other people's streams on Kick, and a lot of people liked it. They said, "Hey, do more collabs, do this," and that was something that kind of just like segmented really well for me to go from like doing collab appearances to having my own show. And also the people I was around, Aiden, like the SSB guys, like they were telling me about like some of the deals and ways you could monetize it. And I was like, well, this makes a little bit more sense for me than doing the YouTube route, you know?
I mean, clearly it was the right strategy, and obviously, like streaming is the medium for success, especially in the demo that you're in. Are you ever like a little bit worried or scared about the fact that everything's live and the fact that anything could happen?
Um, I wouldn't say so now, but the more you grow and the more that's on the line, the more people want to knock you down a peg or two. And I guess that's kind of what we've seen this week. And so yeah, it's getting there where I definitely have to be more conscious, more security, moving a little bit smarter with what I do. But for now, I just try to think about making the best content possible. And the more restrictions you put on yourself, the worse the content obviously gets.
I'm kind of curious. For you, what does the best content possible look like? Because your style is
Mhm.
super intriguing. I've said it on the show. It's like I'm just captivated. The clips come on, and new environment, new person, new interaction. Sometimes you're like an amplified version of yourself. So like, are you going into it with intention about what you're gonna do for the day?
No, never.
You're just being.
Yeah, like we'll just go outside sometimes and have no idea what's even going to happen like 10 minutes from now. But usually the interactions just kind of form naturally themselves.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we'll have like a rough idea of like a location we're going, but like it could quite literally be I'll just decide to go outside and I'll just get on a random bus somewhere.
Okay, so when that girl slapped you, was that real?
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
Oh, really?
It looked like she got you.
I mean, it's just kind of like so shocking. Like, it's not something you expect. So you're just like more like stunned than anything.
Did you sue her parents?
Not gonna talk about that one. Not gonna.
That's off limits.
Yeah.
Wait, is that something you would consider though?
Well, that's a little bit difficult, and I'm not gonna get into the whole.
Fair.
Like,
Okay.
the thing is, like, I don't mind, like, people asking questions and having something go on the record, but like, I'm not necessarily gonna always answer.
Well, look, if you're gonna actually do a lawsuit, then obviously, like, not talk about it. So
Right.
I get that.
Hmm.
Dude,
Do you think could you see why she hit you?
Not really, because like she came up talking about how I don't I don't respect women's rights or something, and I was like, when have I ever even said this? So a lot of people will just like put these descriptions that they come up with in their head on my content, or associate me with some political party, when it's literally like the exact opposite of what I want and the content that I make. I've been extremely like anti-politics from the entire uh, time I've had my career, and that's one of the things that's really helped me be able to capture fans and capture an audience from all sides of the aisle. So when people come up and try to say like, "Oh, you're right wing, you're left wing," uh, I'm just like, really? Like, when did you see this?
When Steph McMahon slapped Cody Rhodes, that was a power move. Now hiring Morgan is a power move. Morgan and Morgan, America's largest law firm. They have over 100 offices. 1,000 lawyers. $30 billion were
Whoa.
covered for over 500,000 clients. Morgan and Morgan has a proven track record fighting to get full and fair compensation. Florida, it recently received $6.1 after the insurance company's best offer was just $100,000.
Wow.
It's a $6 million difference. It's just crazy. While in Georgia, another client recently received 9.5 million shekels dollars. And in Nashville, another client was awarded $1 million. You are injured. Negligence of another, you deserve to be paid. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. More information. People.com/Logan or dial pound law from your cell phone. That's FOR. People.com/Logan or pound law. This is a paid advertisement. You can tell. Now, back to the show.
Clearly, like you've had a ton of controversy,
Right.
obviously, right? And I think some of the things that have happened lead people to make assumptions about other part of your life, which is like a contextual problem for you. Okay, for
Mhm.
example, one time I called out a group of people who listened to a song called
Right.
"Hail Hitler" in the right.
Mhm.
It was a blanket statement, right? And it was kind of the original interaction we ever had because you called me grandpa, and which
Mhm.
is what I said to when I was in Scottsdale,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
But you'll never be able to like go and claim that you haven't done things that were questionable or controversial, right?
Yeah, no, it's my goal to.
And the reason I bring this up is because I think right now you're at this point, this like apex point where it seems like you're already starting to dial some of that stuff back, and you're
Mhm.
going to have to make a decision as to whether you want to continue pushing the envelope, which is something that
Right.
he did and potentially overdid or definitely overdid, or if you want to dial it back for longevity. Do you feel like you're at an inflection point in your career right now?
Well, so there's like the really reactionary clips and like doing the crazy shit. But what I was more so talking about with, the interaction with that girl who slapped me was like, okay, let's break it down and talk about my serious takes, but that's obviously unrealistic, and I kind of get that now, but that was just my mentality, was like, okay, like let's actually talk about it. Because whenever I'm sitting down on like a long form podcast or a setting like this, I can really clarify my beliefs on things rather than just, a 15-second out of context thing or me just trying to uh, be reactionary, whatever. But that would just be, irresponsible understanding of the internet from my perspective. So I'm kind of understanding that more.
Got it. This definitely is like a calmer demeanor and a calmer setting than I'm used to seeing you in.
Yeah. Well, because like when we're going out, nightlife, like you're getting excited, like you're with your homies. It's just a different vibe to it entirely. But when I'm talking about, you know, my entire career and some of my belief systems, I don't want to just come across as like some tweaker, who's high off Adderall the entire time, like being crazy. That's not what it is.
Where are you at with the sobriety journey right now? Because I spoke to you a couple weeks ago, and you were
Yep.
after you had an OD,
Yep.
which was very public, obviously, and you were talking about the idea of being sober and, if you don't mind me saying, the challenges of being sober while streaming.
Mhm.
So where are you at now?
I've still been maintaining my sobriety, right? So no alcohol, no drugs, no nothing. And my entire idea of why it was going to be so hard was more or less a cope because I'm like, oh, like I was kind of using the drugs as a cope to come across as like a normie. But the reality of the situation is I don't have to, right? Like that's a complete waste of my time to try to, you know, like LARP as someone I'm not
I love
when
how these terms are all so like natural,
I know. I thought I had the
for
same thought.
his
He
generation. Because
doesn't
when
even.
we use the terms,
When I say normie, I'm like kind of being satirical.
you say it with
Like,
an emphasis. For
yeah,
you, it's like
normie.
yeah.
it's
It's
actually
in the
your
verbiage.
vocabulary.
Well, yeah, I mean, I spent hours a day on forums like growing up, and this is the way we talk. Um, and I'll talk like this on podcasts, on streams, and now it's at the point where, every single streamer is starting to use it, like even the NFL, like
Saw
Netflix,
that.
like all these words are being used by the mainstream. So it's like, no, I'm bringing everyone over to my side of the aisle. I don't have to go to them. So I'm like, maybe I really don't need to use these drugs as a crutch, and I could just be myself and be unapologetic about it.
Well, that's what I told you. I told you you have an audience now that is
Right.
pretty locked in,
Hmm.
and I think they probably enjoy you as a person and not just the actions that you take. And so it's
Hmm.
you're faced with a very similar situation as he was, which is, if I'm not doing crazy shit, what do I do now?
Yeah. Um, I don't really think it was like too much crazy shit that was like during just my normal streaming hours was getting people to watch for or have a long watch hours. You just really like going out and about and interacting with girls because for a lot of people they're too anxious to do that or maybe they're younger, so they're not able to go out to bars yet. Um, and that's not really something that people stream because there's not as many IRL streamers as you would think who are like consistently streaming like nightlife and dating because that's kind of the whole ideology of looks maxing is it's about the dating market, right? When you talk about hypergamy and like all these events, so you're kind of showcasing like the end result of like after you ascend, like what's accomplishable, what is dating actually looking like for the average person. So those are really interesting experiences to people.
You did you coin the term looks maxing?
No, I would say that I definitely popularized it, but
Yeah.
no.
Do you know where it came from?
Just a lot of forums, like so, like PSL. It stems more from like this weird internet subculture. So yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about logging and looks maxing for a second? Can you put some parameters on ascension and
Hmm.
what that looks like? For example,
Hmm.
to rate me and Logan.
Oh, people love the rating thing. Okay, sure. Um,
Don't don't be biased, dude.
No, I won't be biased. You don't have to worry about that. I would say that I'd probably rate you maybe
Fuck.
3.75 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah. Can you tell us why?
So, yeah, mostly because his interpupillary distance, like how close that his eyes are, and also the longer mid face would be the main ones. Uh,
Does have a
Wait,
to
can
be
I?
fair.
I did for sure. Can I ask you a question?
yeah,
Does okay?
3.75 is great.
So so where does the rating start and stop? Is the rating strictly face related?
yeah. I mean, but you could, add parameters or make clarifications. Like, if you're rating someone's like total SMV, their sexual market value, that would include a lot of other metrics like
Okay, what's my SMV?
would be a lot higher, right? Because you're famous, wealthy, tall. So that's something that would be more favorable to you.
What do you think Mike's sexual mark?
Extremely high percentile, top percentile SMV, right? And that's really the number that I would say matters the most.
Yeah.
Is your SMV more than anything.
And I agree with you, and I'm happy you said that because that was going to be kind of my question.
Yeah, his
is
ego
like,
definitely took a little high, but
no,
the
that's not
SMV
true.
got it back
Hey,
up.
listen, never was trying to be in GQ. Okay, I like to make people laugh. I like to make people feel good. I like to bring energy to a room.
Mhm.
Okay, I fall back on the fact that I'm 6'3" quite often. I think height is an incredibly
Oh yeah,
important
it's very important.
part of the equation. But I'm happy that you said that because I think it gives other 3.75s like myself the ability to understand their power.
Hmm. Well, the key bit of nuance there is that, uh, the face and your looks are going to be the most important thing for getting a super high SMV. So, what you've had to accomplish to transcend the rating of 3.75 and be in that top percentile SMV wise was become like multi-million follower on social media pages and like extreme amounts of wealth. So that's not something that the average 3.75 guy is ever going to be able to accomplish.
Let me
So
cut you off for 1 second. He can maybe attest to it, but certainly my family and friends from back home can.
Mike's been pulling very beautiful women for
Since I was a kid, dude.
It's almost
Like,
it's almost like the things you just mentioned for him didn't matter.
They helped,
mhm,
certainly helped, and put me in rooms with different types. But and the reason why I bring this up is
mhm,
because it's been one of the places where I always wanted to counter you a little
mhm.
in the priority factor in an SMV. I think might be humor, dude. I think, and we could talk about it, but I think the ability to make a girl laugh and
Mhm.
have a good time and feel comfortable in a social scenario, in a social setting. Now, I'm not saying that if you're, but clearly for me, being a 3.75, it was able to help me overcome that issue, right?
Right.
So what's your counter to that? Like why do funny guys, why do ugly
Well,
funny guys get the best pussy?
I wouldn't really say ugly, funny guys get the most pussy. I would say that charisma is certainly a very important thing.
Okay.
And having it is going to help you a lot. But at the end of the day, these one-off anecdotes you always hear all the time, like, oh my buddy, he's bald and fat and he makes a lot of jokes, but he gets laid all the time. It's like we're talking about a view of society, right? Getting down to the sociological stuff. So just as general rules, that's kind of what I'm
I hear what he's saying about the
Eliminating
outliers.
eliminating the
You're an
outliers and
outlier.
focusing
You're
on
an
the
outlier.
correct.
All right, I'm up.
Yeah.
rate my look.